You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
I'm Stephen Cabral, and I'm excited to get started on our first house call of the weekend. Another 3 great questions today, another 3 coming up tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to get into these because it's not just one topic. We seem to be getting into exercise, some really in-depth chemistry-based questions tomorrow, but I'm going to make it really easy, really simple to understand, and actually talk about medium-chain triglycerides and how, whether they're used for just pure energy or if they can be stored as body fat. So stay tuned for that one tomorrow. But let's get started right now. So Jim M is asking, I'm going to be traveling overseas next week. How can I prevent jet lag? So excellent question. And now this takes me way back to episode 55. So Jim, I'm going to give you a short version, but what I want you to do is actually go back to episode 55, which is simple to do because we'll link it up in the show notes. So all you have to do is go to stephencabral.com/175. You'll get today's show notes. And then what we'll do is we'll actually link back to that episode, or just go to stephencabral.com and you can do /Cabral-concept-055, because before, I think it was like episode 140 or so, we used to write Cabral-concept- and then the show notes number. Now we're just trying to shorten it. So just tune in today's show notes, link back to that. Or, the other thing is it's so simple. If you're on your iPhone or you're on the podcast iTunes app, you can just scroll back in the feed, which is super easy to do, and then just go to episode 55. That's a really great episode, I think, because it's what I personally do. It's what I do when I travel to all sorts of other different countries, which are like 12 hours ahead or 12 hours behind. And the name of that episode was How to Beat Jet Lag and Reset Your Natural Sleep Cycle. So this will help a lot of people just with insomnia as well. Just keep in mind that I had insomnia for my entire life until about 30 years old, until I figured it out. And because no doctor could help me, no one could really help me with insomnia until I realized it was what's called an autonomic nervous system disorder. So basically my circadian rhythm was off. So Jim, that's what I'm talking about to you today, is that if you want to prevent jet lag, what you need to do is very quickly just make that switch over to this new time zone. And so one of the things that I do is, if it's only an hour or 2 difference, well, I simply stay on my own time zone. So that's really easy. But you're going overseas, so you're most likely looking at a minimum of 5 to 6 hours if you're going to Europe from the United States. Or like if you're going to India, which I've been to many times, you're looking at 11 or 12 hours, right? So there's all sorts of different time changes. So the easiest thing to do is look at your circadian rhythm as how your body wants to wake up with the sun and go to bed as it gets dark. Now, what I do is I actually it's kind of like a digestive process I help my wellness clients with, is I simply give them the nutrients and nutritional supplements that they need to get their body kind of jump-started, and then the body takes over on its own. So in terms of nutritional supplements, you can just look at what's called our deep sleep package. And that's just at stephencabral.com/store. But let me tell you why we use that and how it works. What we're doing is we're just calming the body down at night. That means taking the nervous system, just calming it down, get into a very relaxed state. That's with magnesium, a certain type of magnesium citrate. We could use some melatonin, 5-HTP, but we use the types that don't make you groggy, which I think is really, really important because you don't want to be groggy the next day. And then when you wake up, it might be 5 or 6 hours, difference. So what we use at that point is we just use it as a nutritional supplement. We use a little bit of caffeine. And since most people love to drink coffee anyways, or black tea, this is a very simple way to do that. And that jumpstarts the body into that new circadian rhythm. But what I would say is, for all the details, simply go back to episode 55, check out those in more detail. But what you want to do is you can absolutely beat jet lag, no problem at all. Again, I do this all the time when I'm speaking or traveling or whatever it might be, and I have to travel all sorts of different places. I use the same exact method, and it works fantastically well, so that when I travel and I'm on stage or so the next day, that I'm not groggy, that I can actually try to give the crowd a good, energized seminar. All right, so great question, Jim. And again, just balancing the body, just tweaking the body a little bit with that circadian rhythm, and you will not have any jet lag at all by calming the body at night and then waking it back up in the morning. Just about a day or two of that, and then your body will be switched. Okay, Patricia is up next. So what is Patricia asking? She's asking, I feel too restricted on an elimination diet. Are there any other foods I can eat? Okay, so, we get this a lot. And, the reason is this, that when you're used to eating cereal for breakfast, or maybe some toast or a muffin or something like that, or some yogurt and some juice, and then for lunch you might have a sandwich, and you kind of everything's at your disposal, right? You can go to any place in the world and automatically you're going to find something, because you're not really restricting yourself. You're just having, hey, I'm going to have a sandwich, I'm going to have pizza, I'm going to have whatever. So here's the thing, when you go on an elimination-based diet and you're looking at only eating whole foods and very specific foods that aren't going to feed gut bacteria and feed yeast and feed SIBO and Crohn's, colitis, and IBS, all the things that cause that, and that's a lot of what we specialize in, because we know the gut is the center of your health, that's for sure, because about 80% of your immune system is right inside that gut wall and right outside of that lamina propria. We know that that's the foundation, that's where we have to start. But people do feel restricted sometimes, and here's the thing. I always tell them this, that you want the results, right? You want to feel healthy. You want to feel energized. You want your skin to glow. You want to get rid of those rashes. You want to get rid of the brain fog, get rid of the migraines. All of those things are what you want, right? So stay focused on that. Don't stay focused on food. The food is your fuel for right now. But remember, after only 3 weeks of being on this elimination diet, we start to add back in some of those foods that you really enjoy. So really, we're not asking for you to think of this as a rest of your life nutrition plan. What I'm looking at for a nutrition-based plan to help you get to your goals, whether it's wellness, weight loss, or really just from an overall anti-aging perspective, is I want to see you clean out your diet and really just feel well within those 21 days. That's typically all it takes. Like whether someone does our nutrition plan only or they do our 21-day Dr. Cabral detox, the results are there. I mean, they feel fantastic after 21 days. It's also guaranteed to work. So it's not like, we're just saying it. But then after that, we understand like you're not going to eat like this for the rest of your life, nor should you, or nor do you have to. So we start to ease back in some of those foods. But once we have a control, once we know that you're feeling well, what we say is if you add one food in at a time, does that make you feel better, neutral, or worse? And some foods are going to make you feel worse, but you won't know that until you've eliminated them first and then slowly added them back in every 3 or 4 days or so. So Patricia, what I would say is this, is just stay focused on your goals, how great you want to feel for those 21 days. And then after that, absolutely pick some of your favorite foods. Now try to make them as healthy as possible and add them back in that once every 3 or 4 days. Look for a reaction. Now keep in mind, sometimes it takes up to 24, 48, or 72 hours for those foods to be reactive. And again, you can run a food sensitivity test. Just go to stephencabral.com/store and you can just look for the food sensitivity test. It's one you can literally do right at home just by poking your finger. Again, if you work with a good functional medicine doctor, they can do it right in your office as well. Easy either way. Again, it's just a great way. You'll never know. I mean, that's the thing. Unless you test, you'll never know about those food sensitivities, not from an IgG perspective. So, Patricia, hopefully that answers your question. Just stay focused that this is just a very short-term nutrition plan or detox that's going to help you get your goals like really as fast as humanly possible. Then you're feeling great, and then you say, okay, let me try to now add some foods back in because I already know I feel great. So if I add some foods back in and I start to feel worse, well, then I know that this food is best saved as either a cheat food only or just removed from my diet so I keep feeling great. All right. Next up is Elizabeth R. And Elizabeth is asking, how many days a week do you think I should run if I'm trying to save my knees? Okay, so the longer version is this person was saying is sometimes they run, their knees get a little swollen, they're starting to get a little bit older, and they don't want to end up with knee issues. They don't want to have their knees replaced. They don't want all those joint-based issues. So, but they love running. And so they say, how many days a week can I run in order to, but still save my knees? So it's a great question. That the trouble is this, just like my last answer to Patricia, is that I'm never going to give you the easy out. That's not me. That's not who I am. A lot of people try to sell products and sell things by giving the easy answer, saying like, oh, this is so easy to do. No, I'm saying to you is, you can get better results doing what I recommend, but it's not always the easiest way, but it is the best way. That's the difference. And so, Elizabeth, what I would say to you is this: every time your heel or body, your foot strikes the ground when you run, especially if you're not running with good biomechanical form, you are breaking down a little bit of that knee joint. What do I mean by that? Well, either the meniscus or the anticular cartilage covering the bones, the ends of the bones themselves. So a lot of people, their calves are too tight, their ankles are too immobile, their hamstrings are too tight, their psoas, their hip flexors are too tight. So their feet turn out a little bit, their knees turn in a little bit. And now what happens with that is over time, and keep in mind that you're going to be doing at least 10,000, 15,000 foot strikes with more than double your weight as you run. And now you can just see how that would break down your joints. So what I would say is, Elizabeth, if you're really trying to save your knees, either just go from maybe one run per week, maybe two at the very, very most, just let's say 30 minutes or so at a time, and try to get your body in as good biomechanical order as you can, which just means proper alignment, stretch, do your foam rolling, all of those great things, some massage. But also you might want to switch over one day a week to some interval-based training. So that means you're sprinting for, let's say, about 60 seconds maximum. And you're only doing that for about 10 times. So that's the nice thing is that, you're running for 10 minutes now only, and you're running at kind of a full speed and more of the balls in your feet. So biomechanically, you're going to be much more into your muscles than in your joints. So that's my best answer. That's the answer I would give to my own family and friends. And of course, that's the answer that I give to you is if you're really looking to save your knees, then you're going to do a little bit more sprinting and a little bit more or less long distance running. But again, I understand that some people love long distance running or they love endurance based running because they get that endorphin high. So what I would say is this, is that, 1 or 2 times a week and then just see how your knees feel. Do that foam rolling, do that stretching. And if you feel pretty good and you're in pretty good order, then I would say you're not going to really have too many issues with it because we're not talking about an hour run or an hour and a half run. We're talking about somewhere around 30 minutes. And that's for most people around 3 miles or a 5K or so. And that's just a nice 10-minute mile pace. It's nothing too strenuous in the body. So look at it from that perspective. And I would say that I believe if you start running into issues again with the knees, like swelling of the knee, it's a really good indicator that there's just too much inflammation. There's too much abrasion there. And that is when you're going to have to start to cut back. So Elizabeth, hopefully that answered your question. I did the best I can. I didn't want to play it from both sides, but of course I'd like to give you those options. And I am looking out for your health, wellness, and anti-aging for well into the future as well, not just at this moment today. Thank you everyone for tuning into another House Call edition. And again, if any of these questions can help any family, friends, coworkers of yours, please do feel free to forward this show to them. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.